20 games as Liverpool manager, and Arne Slot has won 18 of them. We've talked about some of his players and how impressive they are, but how impressed have you been with him, with Arne Slot?
He's cool, isn't he? He's a cool guy, and the players are... I think there was, obviously, what helped them, I suppose, at the start of the season, there was no pressure on Liverpool, really, when they came in. Obviously, didn't really spend in the transfer market, so everyone was maybe seeing how this kind of goes, and he said himself, nobody would have thought they would have been so far ahead. Their performances, defensively outstanding. There's what they had today with opportunity to quality. There's an energy about them. I think the team reflect the manager as well. There's certainly a calmness to their play, which is key, I think, in terms of... We praise Klopp. Klopp's been amazing. Again, that kind of high-energy football. But they have that, and they do it at the right times. And there's also a time where they're cool and calm and looking after the ball and getting their recovery. And so any team that can finish ahead of Liverpool this season in the league will be doing very, very well.
Do you think, Daniel, because they haven't signed players, which is unusual when a new manager comes in, there are still questions as to how much of this is about Jurgen Klopp and how much is about a different approach from Arne Slot?
I think Arne Slot has rejuvenated the squad a little bit, because I think it's new messaging, it's a new approach from and I think the players have bought into it a lot. Obviously, the Dutch connection with Virgil as well would have transmitted that within the dressing room, made it very clear to the team how the manager would want them to go about their business. And I agree with Roy, the calmness of it. I think it's a completely flip side approach from how the managers are. I think Jurgen led with his heart, whereas Slot seems to almost more of a mental. But it's interesting because you wouldn't have anticipated it would happen so fast, that they would compete the way they are. So it's really impressive.
I just think watching Slot, I think as a defender, you probably back me up on this. When I used to watch Liverpool under Klopp, they was outstanding, but they did give you a chance and that high line. Now, if you look at them now, they just go
stressful
back.
Being a defender.
Yeah, it was.
In a
I mean,
team.
when you're constantly running that way, it is difficult. Now they look a little bit more composed. If you watch Trent this season, his defending has been miles better. Okay, when Doku came on the one-on-ones, he wasn't getting tight enough, but the structure of the team and the balance just seems a little bit better, and they can adapt to different situations where previously they would always play well. They call it heavy metal football, but it just felt like there was always an opportunity you could get in behind.
The thing I would say with Jurgen Klopp type of football, you'd probably argue it was more exciting, but it had to be perfect to be good defensively. I think there was only a couple of seasons where Liverpool had a really good defensive numbers. I think the season they went really close with City, and the season after they win the league. And besides that, they didn't have a poor defensive record, but it certainly wasn't what we've seen now. So he's made them better defensively, more controlled, but also what he's done to certain individuals within the team. Liverpool have been looking for a holding midfield player for sort of the last 2 or 3 seasons. Jurgen Klopp couldn't get one. Jurgen Klopp didn't think Gravenberch was that player. He was playing him as an attacking midfield player. He's put him there, and right now he looks as good as anyone in the Premier League in that position. And also we see Luis Diaz as a centre-forward. Jurgen Klopp put Gakpo as a centre-forward for a lot of time. He's put Gakpo on the left. Diaz is now playing in that central position at times. So you can see the little tweaks he's made to actually individuals who are already part of the squad.
This lead is now 9 points, and historically, teams go on to win the title from this kind of position. Every time, in fact, teams had more than 6 points or more lead at this stage, they have, in Premier League history, gone on to win the title. And they've done it by almost 12 points on average. So, what are the dangers from here?
The dangers are...
Don't not worry about any other teams, but in terms of Liverpool themselves.
Well, just look at the injuries right now. I think if they got another 1 or 2 injuries, certainly defensively, they'd have a problem. A real problem. They may end up having to put maybe a midfield player, a full-back, or something like that. So that could be a problem. And also domestic cup competitions. Last season and a couple of years before that, Liverpool, at this stage of the season, were talking about 4 trophies. And one season they ended up winning the 2 domestic cups, but lost the Champions League final, lost the Premier League on the final day to City. Last season there was talk, Europa League, they won the Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup game at Manchester United just absolutely almost finished the season in some ways. Now, you cannot deliberately lose games or try and get, not do as well as you can. You're Liverpool, you have to compete in every competition. But if I was given the manager any advice, I would not be playing any first-team players in domestic cup competitions, because the reason no one's ever won 4 trophies in a season before, because it's almost impossible. That could be a problem for them. If they could just concentrate on the league and the Champions League I think they're going to take some stopping.
Only 75 points still to play for. Is anyone prepared to put the bunting up yet for Liverpool? Declare them champions?
No, after 13 games, I think this, elaborating on Kara's question, I think if they was to lose Salah or Van Dijk, we talked
January.
Pre-match. It's different. We talked about the big players turning up. I mentioned Odegaard and Saka for Arsenal, obviously Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne for Man City. Salah, watching Salah is just incredible. Not because I played with him many moons ago, but he doesn't have to even play well, but he still makes a difference in the key areas. Daniel talked about his pass, and then he's finished, he misses penalties, and nothing phases him.
I was asking about Liverpool winning the title.
That's different, but that's what I mean. I think if you lose Van Dijk and Salah, things become a lot.
If they stay fit,
then it's very difficult for everyone else.
I don't know. I feel like Liverpool are looking, very good right now. I think it's. I agree with the guys. I think it's injuries. I think it's mentally staying in it and not letting opportunities slip by when you're playing against certain opposition. There's how you obviously win leagues is by beating the teams you're supposed to beat, and we've seen a lot of those teams actually are performing quite well. So it's about continuing to put teams away when you have like opportunities in the first half today when you're missing 5 or 6 chances. You can't do that regularly and expect to win a title.
I think whenever there's a week of 3 Premier League games in a week, a lot can change. Now, no disrespect to Man City, they've been amazing for the last 5 or 6 years. But when I looked at this week, I looked at Newcastle away Wednesday night and then play Everton away 12:30. That's a quick turnaround, and that's if Liverpool could come through that with 4 to 6 points, they are in a great position. Because if I'm an Arsenal player or the manager looking at the next 2 games Liverpool have had, they're not easy.
you don't get any league medal in December, this team will take some stopping.
There we go. Sounds like Jamie's almost got the bunting out, though. Not quite yet.
Like a fortress at times, but it's the way they got beat is, for me, I've not seen for a while with this City team. You can talk about the defence, you can talk about midfield, you can talk about attack. It's the collective. If you look at the difference between Liverpool and Man City, they was all together. At times, Man City, they was just disjointed. Didn't sort of know what they was going to do. They sort of put Rico Lewis on the right. Obviously, we've seen him in midfield, and he's a right back by trade. You got Mateus Nunes on the left as well. So they got into these good opportunities, but they couldn't do anything with it. It just feels like everything is a yard off.
So does it seal in your mind? You talking before the game about if they lose potentially, possibly, maybe, that means they're out of the title race?
No, I think if you're looking at the stats, if you're looking at the game, and you're analysing the game, it's bleak at this time too. I'm not going to rule them out completely because football is like that, but I can't see him catching Liverpool at this.
I think it is almost a mini crisis for Manchester City, and I think it's reminiscent of Liverpool 2 years ago. And I actually think Man City might have a fight on their hands for top 4. I actually look at Arsenal and Chelsea and the way they're looking right now. I think it'd be difficult for Man City to finish above them if they don't go into the market in January. And I go back a couple of years, the season Man City won the treble. Liverpool went to the Etihad, I think, in about April and got beat 4-1. And it could have been 6 or 7, got absolutely battered. And you felt like it was almost the end of that Jurgen Klopp team. But what it was the end of the midfield. This was Henderson and Fabinho at the time. And no matter how good a manager you are, you can't fix that. I don't think Pep can fix that in terms of midfield. Now, this has been going on for 4 or 5 games. He needs to buy players in there. Now, if he can do it in January, who knows? But may need to wait till the end of the season to fix this. Because right now, I could see Man City maybe losing another 4 or 5 games between the
game. But ultimately, he's a world-class player. He's in a great position with Liverpool with his contract situation. And he's producing. And what I would give him credit for when this contract situation is going on with a player, and it's out in the open now, obviously, and people are talking about him, criticising him and saying he's this or he's selfish or whatever it might be. But he's turning up. I think that's what the real top players will put that to the side and go, I'm still going to produce in the big games. And that's why I take my hat off to him.
Daniel, he's had some criticism, Mo Salah. He's been called selfish for raising the situation around his contract and seeking out reporters when he might not normally do that.
Seeking them out.
which is what he did last week, of course, down at Southampton. What should Liverpool do?
It's the Jerry Maguire moment. You've got to show me the money. Stay with me, Jamie. For real. Like, I think these types of it's as simple as it gets. These types of players, he scored what now? Is that 234 goals for the club this season? Top scorer, assists, top of that. Where do you replace those numbers? It's either as collectively as a team, or you're not going to find individual player that over the course, it's very, very difficult. These are rare finds in football. So is he slowing down? Are the stats slowing down? Is his intensity? Is his mindset?
Let me show you one graphic,
No?
Daniel. Yes, absolutely, his output is extraordinary right now in terms of those attacking stats. You see the goals are increased, the goal involvements, his shots on target and his dribble success all up under this manager. Yep. But is there something to say that maybe the physical stats were much better under Jurgen Klopp and he is slowing down? Or is it just adapting his game because of his years?
Maybe it's the manager's asking him to press less. Maybe it's, less defensive work and more attacking work. I'm saying a player of Mohamed Salah's qualities deserves to be paid, whether it's a 2 to 3 year contract. If it's 2 years and he's asking for big dough, you've got to pay it. I mean, to be honest with you,
he's always...
You've got a different opinion to that, though, haven't you, Cara, in terms of that? No. We've talked about it all this week. I would pay him, not what he wants, but you can't let him go for free. He's 33.
No, he will be 33
at the end of his when the contract's ready. If you give him 2 years, till 35.
2 years?
Yeah, but the difference is now, historically we were saying it's too much because players are slowing down physically. But he's in great shape.
Not a problem. Listen, I think it's probably being lost. I've got no problem with Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk. They are two of the greatest players to ever play for Liverpool. If Liverpool has a club, and we know they're run by data, so you can't actually say, we're delighted Michael Edwards is back and all the data people are back, because that fell away at the end of Klopp's time and they're back and we've got this Moneyball situation and we're delighted that's back. But then on the other hand, say, give someone what he wants. You can't say give someone what he wants. But you never get
what you want, do you?
No, but never get what you want. The point being is, these two, Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah, if Liverpool do have let's say there's a rule, like of anyone over 30 only gets a certain length of contract, you have to move the dial for players like that. I'm not saying he shouldn't get a 2-year deal. I'm not saying he should be on big money. He's on big money now, and rightly so. He's one of the best players in the world. But this idea and this saying that keeps giving what he wants, this club is not built on giving people what they want. That's why the success of the club has come from being ahead of the game, buying Mo Salah for 40 million. When nobody else in nobody else in the Premier League even looked at him, because Liverpool were ahead of the game in terms of the data. So I'm just saying, Liverpool, keep doing what you're doing. Don't be giving someone a 3 or 4 year deal. If you normally give someone an extra year, no, you move the dial for a Mo Salah or a Virgil van Dijk. There's no problem.
There has been, suggestions that part of this reason that City are struggling right now is because they're an ageing side. Some people say they're a side in decline because of that. If you're giving Mo Salah another 2, potentially 3 years, Virgil van Dijk another 2-3 years, might they be in that situation quite soon?
I personally don't see Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk slowing down at this particular stage. Maybe in a couple of years, I don't know. I'm saying right now, at this moment in time, they obviously should be at the football club next season. It's not a question of whether they should be at the club or not. It's a case of how long is the contract and will they accept that length of contract for the finances. There's going to be numbers out there for them players, including Trent, that is going to be bigger than Liverpool. Let's keep it real. There's going to be more than Liverpool are going to offer. What they're going to get on the outside. It's the truth. But for them, do they have it in their stomach to say, I want to win Champions Leagues, I want to win Premier Leagues, I want to do it at this football club?
So that's the case. That huge money will want the big contract. And there's no guarantee they will produce for Liverpool. You already have a player in the building. And again, we're not talking about... when this idea, I agree with you, give them what they want. Nobody gets that. That's why it's called negotiation. You obviously go in high, they come in and you try and meet in the middle somewhere. But how Liverpool, if they can take the chance of letting him walk out the building on a free, and we're talking about the modern players, these are fitness freaks.
I think last season was the first time he dropped below 80% of Premier League minutes in his Liverpool career. Do you have any issue, just finally on this, Daniel, any issue with the way that he's sort of as I say, seeking out reporters last week. He's mentioned it a few times already this season. If it does potentially put the club in a difficult place, if you just got to do, as a player in that situation, everything you can to win that contract?
I think each player goes about it in a different way. Some guys like Trent and Virgil haven't really spoke about it. Mo's a different player and a different personality, so each person's going to approach it in a different way. He's gone about it the way he feels is going to get him the result he wants. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it, but I think...
You agree with me?
No, I don't agree with you.
What I'm saying,
no, I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him, but what I'm saying is...
Do you think what?
My personality, I'm saying he's speaking more with the press now.
So do you agree with that? Do you think that's right, or do you think it's wrong?
What I'm saying to you is players who have individual mindsets go about things in their own way. The likes of Cristiano Ronaldo was questioned at times, and Ronaldo would do interviews or go about things in certain ways. You know, there's individuals out there whom, when they're at the top and they're one of the greatest, and they start getting questioned or things don't start to go their way, they approach things in a way that says, do you know who I am? Do you know who you're messing with right now? Like, I'm Mo Salah, I've done all these things. Just like in an interview, he goes, well, yeah, great players see those passes. Like, he's sure of himself. He doesn't doubt himself one bit. So if you don't want to pay me, that's okay. I'll go to one of the other best teams in the world, or I'll go to wherever he sees, and he'll say, you don't respect me enough. I think it's about respect and him saying, pay me what I deserve, because if you don't, I'll find somewhere else that will do it.
I agree with that. Mo Salah sees himself as that type of player, and rightly so. But for me, Virgil van Dijk's one of those type of players. And all I'm asking for is for Mo Salah not to come out after every game where he scores a goal and talk about his own situation. Virgil van Dijk's in exactly the same situation and handling it brilliantly. Just saying there's nothing to report at the moment. Move on. It's about the club more. The club is always more important than the individual, especially with Liverpool top of the Premier League and top of the Champions League.
Salah done his talking on the pitch today. That's where he done his talking. Take more note of that than the odd quote or the odd little tantrum.
Give them all what they want.
Maybe with the exception of some missed chances, was that pretty close to perfect?
Yeah, and if you look at work rate, I think it was perfect. The amount of chances we missed that made it that it was tight till the end. But yeah, maybe that's also the nice part of a game like this. It should be like this, but in an ideal world, we would have scored earlier the second one, yes.
Was the plan to go at them right from the start, to kind of go for the throat, or does Anfield, with its atmosphere, just almost demand that of you in a game like this?
I think if you watch every game of us, which you probably have done, then you know that we always want to press high. But the thing is, they can do build up very well. They can play the ball out from the back very, very well. So then you have to put a lot of effort in, or you have to take the risk of playing 1v1. But we put a lot of effort in. We forced them to a few mistakes, which led to some chances. That gives us energy. That gives the crowd energy, and that helps, of course, because apart from our players, the crowd was fantastic today as well.
You said before the game, you mentioned City basically playing without wingers and not being sure how they were going to line up. What did you make about how they went about it first half?
Yeah, they always make it difficult for you in the way they position, and but in general it's mostly the same formation, but players can go to different positions. And yeah, it's not only formation; it's 9 of 10 times the quality of the players that make it difficult for you, and that's also what they had on the pitch today. But yeah, the good thing for us is we have some quality players on the pitch as well.
I suppose at the beginning of the season, because of a new manager, there was a little bit of uncertainty about how this would go for Liverpool. Has this week, beating Real Madrid, beating Man City, underlined what kind of season this is going to be? Maybe you won't win things, but you will be competing for the very biggest prizes.
No, we're a compatible team, and it's very difficult to beat us. But therefore, we need to put the effort in, like we put in every single game. And you also saw today the injuries we have at the back. We had to take care of Trent. Maybe he could have played 90, but yeah, it's a risk with all these games coming up, so we had to take him off after 70. And Joe did really well today to replace Ibu, and Joel came in a, for him, unfamiliar position. So that is the challenges we face at the moment, but every team faces these challenges during the season, and it's up to us to get the best out of it, and that's what we did today. But again, a big week coming up with Newcastle and Everton.
I mentioned the ferocious start, but I actually wonder if the biggest difference you've made with Liverpool? Like, we've seen lots of fast starts under Jurgen Klopp, but the second half, the way you managed it, barely gave any chances away, hit them on the break. Do you think that maybe that flexibility is what that little, you talked at the start of the season, just adding a few little nuances to the base you inherited?
Ideally, I would have loved to see the second half being the same as the first half, but yeah, the quality of the other team is also that much that there are phases in the game or that they have the ball, and then it's up to us to defend really strong in and around our 18-yard box, and I think that's also what we did. If you want to win against City, like I think I said before the game, you have to be perfect in every part of the game: high press, low press, build up, in every part, because they bring so many problems to you. So and I think we came close to perfection. We weren't perfect. We came close to perfection, and that's the only win you can beat a quality team like City.
And lastly, I think today was your 20th game in charge, all competitions. Can you believe how well it's gone?
No, I can't believe because it's happening at the moment, but I don't think anyone, including me, would have predicted this. I knew that Jurgen left the team in a very good place, but yeah, still to win so much with all the difficult teams we faced already is something you can't predict before the season. But like I said, we're not the only one. I saw Arsenal yesterday, I saw Chelsea today, and I saw City playing. They will come back because these teams have so much quality. They can have the same run as us. So we have to stay sharp and focused for the upcoming weeks.
Well done.
You're welcome.
Thank you.